Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where and when you are viewing this. Hi, I'm Casey Durango of Go Keto with Casey, where I talk about how I lost 97.4 pounds after starting the ketogenic protocol, how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life like I did. Thank you, Keto Cuckoo, for chiming in the time, and Grandmother Clock in the background. Today's topic is just what the thumbnail said. Keto noise, 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 noise. Like, when the Grinch, during how the Grinch stole Christmas, all the noise, noise, noise. That's kind of the way it is. So, for those of you who are new to these Saturday morning live streams, my practice is to give a little bit of a primer on how I learned and followed the ketogenic protocol all these 9.5 years. And then the topic du jour, and then a little thanks to shout out to some folks, and then turn my attention to comments, questions, feedback, complaints, sharing success stories or challenges. So there we go. That having been said, today's topic is the noise. And here is the ketogenic protocol as I learned it, not noisy. Keep your carbohydrate intake to 20 grams or fewer a day. That's total carbs, not net carbs. Why? Because net carbs just means more carbs. If it's not on page 4, link below, don't eat it. But you don't even need a food list. It's fatty sources of protein, limited amounts of non-starchy vegetables, and limited amounts of full-fat dairy. Those last two, optional. You don't need any vegetables, and you don't need any dairy. And you don't need added fat. That's one of the noisy things. Don't eat if you're not hungry. The most challenging part for me and for a lot of people, I believe. Next most challenging, stop eating when you've had enough. Stop when you're satiated. Then I've added be patient and persevere. That's it. See, no noise. Keep your carbs very low. Lay off the carbs. Lay off the carbs. It's like whisper it. So why is there so much noise? Well, because like so many things, if someone, let's be blunt. If somebody sees an opportunity to sell you a product, to do something that actually comes quite naturally, but let me sell you a product for it. And it's a very buzzy word, keto. Keep in mind, it didn't exist as a term when I started this. It wasn't called the ketogenic diet, except in like medical circles, in research circles. It was low carb. It was no starch, no sugar. In some parts of the world, LCHF, which is low carb, high fat, which is unfortunate because it's not a high fat diet. This is where some of the confusion comes in. It's only high fat in that it is not low fat. I'll talk about that in a minute. In some parts of the world, it's called the Banting diet because William Banting, an undertaker from 1863 England, wrote a treatise on corpulence because he was very overweight and he didn't like it and he was in pain. And so he cut out the carbs and he wrote a book on it. That's how old and basic this is. There is nothing new about this. No great innovations. Lay off the carbs. Why does this work? Because when we consume more carbs than, we consume carbs, our liver processes it and out comes glucose. Sugar, simple sugar. Our body will burn that, and there are times when there are parts of our bodies and times when glucose is required. But we don't need to eat carbs for that because our body can make glucose. If we turn off the tap, as it were, of the glucose by keeping our carbohydrate intake sufficiently low where the liver is not pumping out glucose, the body says, "Oops, where's the glucose? What? Oh, you know what? I've got plenty of ketone bodies or fat that I can burn to utilize energy." You start becoming a fat burner. Even lean people have tens of thousands of calories of energy on board in their fat cells. So there's plenty of energy there. That's what the ketogenic protocol is. You're in a state of ketosis. You're burning ketone bodies instead of glucose. And our body likes it. Our brains like it. It's very anti-inflammatory. When you have a lot of glucose in your bloodstream, it's inflammatory. things itch, hurt, aches, pains, autoimmune issues, insulin spikes, pushing the glucose out of the blood and into fat cells. No es bueno. So, but that's what it is. Keep your carbs to a level where your liver is not pumping out glucose for fuel and your body burns fat for fuel. Well, if that's all there is, there's not a whole lot of money to be made by food manufacturers or entrepreneurs by just saying lay off the carbs because that's not doing something. That's a I'm going to remove the carbs. That can't be good. We need to sell you something. So you can start seeing keto products, so-called keto products. If it says keto on the label, it's not because by and large, not a, for the most part, foods that would follow this protocol are not really shelf stable. They are fresh, whole food, poultry with the skin, steak with the fat, ground beef with the fat. You don't have to buy the leanest cut of ground beef. Um, Oily fish, lamb, pork with the fat, pork chops, pork belly, pork shoulder, bacon. So not shelf stable. They can if they're frozen or refrigerated, but they're not in the middle of the store in a box. You don't see boxed lamb chop because that would not work out well. And come on, keto brownie mix, really? Do we think that's a thing? So there's the noise comes from the marketing opportunities and the opportunistic people. Mm. You don't have to buy one thing, not one thing, to be 100% successful at this protocol. What did I rush out and buy when I started on January 8th, 2014? Nothing. Next time I ate, I laid off the carbs. I had given up on losing weight. You can see at my blog, link below, caseydurango.com, some photos from my previous life in my efforts to move more, eat less. And it resulted in no kind of success. I was sore and hungry all the time and in a pretty bad mood. So I'd given up on losing weight. I did not want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. I Googled how to not take insulin for type 2 diabetes. I came across the white coat video of my now friend, Eric Westman from Duke University, and it was very low key. He was not selling anything. This was a video made by one of his interns or grad students, and they put it on the Duke intro web, and it made it out into the wild. He was talking to his clinic patients. How do you do it? Keep your carbs 20 grams or fewer. If it's not on page 4 is the 4th page of a handout stapled together that Dr. Westman provides his clinic patients. The food list is on page 4. If it's not on page 4, don't eat it. From that time, it has become just like paleo was a while ago. Oh, there's a juvenile male cardinal on my bird feeder, and he's got his little tuft out, and he looks like he's got a mohawk. A teenager. Anyway, it and as I said, and it's gotten distorted. Here's some of the noise. I don't follow anybody. I don't watch any other channels. I don't belong to or follow any Facebook pages. Um, I don't not a person. I do there's a British houseplant person I like, and I watch because I'm into houseplants now. But I don't hear the noise myself, I hear about the noise. Someone shared with me because people reach out and they'll ask a question or they'll make a comment and someone commented that there is a so-called keto guru, the person put it in quotes, keto guru, who recommended increasing carbs starting with 100 grams per day, going up to 300 grams per day. Now that's noise. And that is just the standard American diet. So call yourself a standard American diet guru. That is not the ketogenic protocol. Noise. And it's confusing, right? Wait a minute. There's somebody saying you must get in 200 grams of fat a day. What? What? It's not it's not that you have to eat fat to burn fat. It's not what you do eat, it's what you don't eat. You don't eat the carbs. That's what makes you start burning fat when you get your carbohydrate intake sufficiently low. Plus, 200 grams of fat is 1,800 calories, which is probably about twice of my daily caloric intake, just in fat. So, noise. Now, I said earlier, problematic or unfortunate that in some parts of the world is known as LCHF, low carb, high fat. It is not a high fat diet. Actually, adding in dietary fat can be counterproductive because ultimately, if you're burning fat for fuel, yeah, I'm in ketosis. I'm burning fat for fuel. But if you're eating lots of butter and MCT oil, and that was another noisy thing, MCT oil, and bulletproof coffee and fat bombs and all this fat, 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 fat. Well, your body's is burning fat, but you're feeding it all the fat it needs for its energy requirements. So it doesn't need to turn to your onboard stores. So this is not an added fat diet. It's just high fat in that it is not low fat. Noise. Shocking the system. There's noise out there about how we must eventually have carby days or carby meals. Wendy's even made an advertising campaign a year or so ago. Wendy's, come to us for your cheat meal. Maybe two. What? That's noise. Carbohydrate is not an essential macronutrient, flat out. It's not required. Whatever we get from eating carbohydrate, our bodies can make gluconeogenesis. Our livers, our kidneys can make the little bit of glucose that's on demand needed. Now, keep in mind, every food that humans consume have some bit of carbohydrate and fat and protein, except for lard, which has no carbs, and white sugar, which has no fat. But everything else in between, eggs, bread, salad fixings, all have fat, protein, carb. But obviously, animal products have very little. And as far as carbs go, plant products have much more. So, another noise. You must consume a minimum of 7 cups of leafy greens a day. That's some bad noise. Wrong. It's the opposite. Actually, you're limited to about 2 cups of leafy greens a day, but they're not even required. Noise. The ketogenic protocol does not cause non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It actually corrects it. So, what's a person to do when there is so much noise? Well, for one thing, I recommend stop listening to so many people. Find a voice, a person, a resource that you trust and that speaks to you in a way that, well, that makes sense to me. And then go with it. But listening, somebody was very kind and wrote to me that I was one of their favorite YouTube channels. And they follow 222 YouTube channels on keto. What? How can 222? So tune out the noise. Don't complain about the noise and then continue to listen to the noise. Tune out the noise. Oh, I was going to have a brilliant thought, and now it's right out of my head. So anyway, ultimately, maybe you tune out everyone. Say you have tried the ketogenic protocol and you were doing pretty well and you're on it for a couple of months and you lost 8 pounds and wow, my joints don't hurt so much anymore and I don't need my afternoon nap. This is awesome. And then you hear an influencer saying, well, this is not sustainable. So to make it sustainable, have a cheat day. Now, your body has just given you the feedback that you're doing fine. But you let some talking head, and I am a talking head, no doubt, tell you, well, stop doing what's been working for you and do this because I need a clickbaity video to make. And there are some that are just clickbaity. They're just saying the opposite. They want clicks, 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 and so listen. Tune out all the noise and listen to your body. If something's working for you, keep with it. If something's not working for you, tweak. I will tell you that metabolically, I am probably like almost everyone hearing my voice. Some people are blessed with they're naturally thin, they have naturally ageless skin, they are healthy and fit, and they eat whatever they want. Muzzle tough. Most of us are not like that. Most of us, if we are not already eventually become the way my metabolism was. I was morbidly obese from my mid-20s to my mid-50s. Well, overweight, obese, morbidly obese. It didn't happen overnight, but it happened pretty quickly. So no influencer or anything is gonna get me off what I know works for me. My body is the main influencer. If I do something that doesn't sit well with me, my body tells me. The thing is, our bodies talk to us. But when it's a chronic situation, it can be like it's kind of giving you, hey, 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 I don't feel so good. Hey, my back is hurting. Why is my back hurting? Oh, why am I have acid reflux? I have acid reflux. I have acid reflux and my back is hurting and my stomach hurts all the time and I'm hungry all the time and I'm in a really bad mood. So the whispers get louder until our bodies start shouting at us. And that is type 2 diabetes and joint pain and acid reflux and ulcerative colitis. All of those things I had. No more. So if you don't know who to listen to, don't listen to anybody, including me. Listen to your body. Our bodies, the original app. Don't let an app tell you what to eat or when to eat, for goodness sake. Our bodies are the original app. So tune out the noise. I'm appalled when I hear what some people say, what some recommendations are. But I don't go track that person down and listen to their story. I don't need to hear that. I know it works for me. Try it yourself. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in your body and tune out the noise. As I said earlier, you do not have to buy one thing to be 100% successful. There's nothing that can kick you into ketosis. It's just lay off the carbs. That said, I will happily sell you a green book, a journal book. I'm thrilled when I see these going out the door from Amazon. It's a 12-month record book of mood tracking and habit tracking and notes and coloring pages. And here's a quote that had for one of the months. When you reach the end of your rope, tie a knot in it and hang on. That's attributed to Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So you can see a link to that at my blog. Take you to Amazon where you can get it. By the way, I used to have some printed, spiral bound, delivered here, sold them from my blog. I would send them out. Shipping costs and production costs got so high that I could not, in good faith, try to sell those books. I'd have to charge $30. So, and just to break even. So, you can take them though if you get this perfect round and take them to Kinko's or Staples or someone. They can put a spiral on it if you like. That said, T-shirts, mugs, hats, stickers. You can see a link to my spread shop below. I went keto with Casey, and I appreciate that very much. I'm just trying to earn my keep, y'all. Also, I have a private Patreon support group. I have a private support group on Patreon where I do 20 video snippets every weekday morning and a handful of patron-only live streams on Crowdcast every month. And there's a free trial period. You can try 7 days for free. If you like it, you can stay. If it's not your cup of tea, no harm, no foul. And that's that. Pink drink. Hashtag Casey's pink drink. I'm asked every time I don't say it. Tumbler full of ice, diet tonic water, splash of diet cranberry, squeeze of lime. And if you like what you're hearing and you can give me a thumbs up and a subscribe, That really helps my channel too. And I like the hearts and the flowers and things that come up. Now I am going commercial break over. I am now going to turn my attention to comments and questions, and I just jump where I see it. Linda Moore writes, "My life changed since I started keto." That's all you need to know, right? I'm going to assume for the better. Kara Z writes, "At Linda Moore, mine too. I am so grateful for all the positive changes." And Judy Tucker writes, "Good morning, Casey." Judy has lost 150 plus pounds. She's 75 and she's a farmer in Iowa. Dolores Drury, "Hi, Casey. A day without Casey is like a day without sunshine." Oh, you're very sweet. Kara Z, "The quote carb cycling noise has me so confused. I need to just tune it out, but I do get caught up in it sometimes." And let me tell you what, I've said it before. It's not based in science, okay? So that's just, and again, people want to click. Also, nobody ever went broke telling people what they want to hear. Yeah, we'd like to be able to go and eat pizza and carbs and yeah, I want to believe that. So I think I'll listen to someone who tells me that. It just doesn't work. And it is confusing. And it's not based in science. Barbara Keeper or Kuiper, "You may refer to yourself as a talking head, but you are on point and a straight shooter. Our bodies will guide us if we just listen." Well, thank you for the comment. And yes, our bodies will tell us. We've just been ignoring our bodies. It's been talking to us. I don't know if any of you are in relationships. I am for a really long time. And my lovely mate, there are times when we've had colorful discussions and he has asked, "Why are you yelling at me?" And I say, "Because you don't hear me when I talk in normal tones." Have you ever had that experience? You say something and then, no, okay, you say it again and nothing. And then you say it a little bit louder and nothing. And then you start screaming. "Why are you yelling at me?" That's what our bodies have done. "Hello from Texas," writes Linda Bridges. "Dachshungal. Hey, Cheryl. After being in ketosis for 3 years and now not always feeling as well as I used to, it lends to some of that looking around to see if anything I could do to improve how I feel." And listen, I don't feel tip top every day. And I've been in ketosis for 9.5 years, not out of ketosis. I'm doing an experiment. So every Saturday morning I check. This morning, my blood sugar was 71 and my beta hydroxybutyrate, which I test by blood with the Keto Mojo, 1.8. But I don't feel great every day. I might get a headache or uh, not sleeping well. Something might happen. So I feel on my worst days now, I feel better than most of my average days from before. Just overall, joint pain, intestinal issues, acid reflux. Deb Hervol writes, "Creative Soil asks, what do you think about fermented carbs?" Thank you for sharing that because I don't see the comments all well. By the way, I love that handle, Creative Soil. For I Okay, so there are some things. For one thing, some vegetables, there are vegetables on page 4. And fermented vegetables tend to be things like cabbage, a la sauerkraut, pickles, yogurt is fermented. So here's the thing about that. Still, you want to keep your carbs 20 or below. The fermentation process eats the sugars, which is why, although wine is made from grapes, which are not on page 4, and wine is not on page 4 either, but there are special rules for wine. The fermentation process eats the sugar. Milk is not on page 4, but you can have yogurt, and you want it from whole milk because that leaves the fat, but the fermentation eats the lactose. So those are my thoughts. If you like them, eat them in limited amounts. Just pay attention to the carbs. Judy Tucker writes, "Casey, what would you suggest to help someone who has been keto for years and now has started to over drinking diet sodas and gum? I've suggested to just get rid of it. Any ideas would help." Now, hmm, what? So the non-sugar sodas, is this just because what is over drinking them? Because I drink non-sugar sodas. I like non-sugar ginger ale. It still feels like when I was a kid, ginger ale has like medicinal properties. I was sick a lot as a kid, and my mother kept saltines and ginger ale on hand. Gum, yeah, you want to watch those because they're just a piece of gum. But we have icebreakers, I think. Pop one of those. What do you have to do to get over drinking? You have to stop drinking them. You just have to stop. Same way with the carbs. It's a behavior. You know, can to mouth is a behavior. Karazi, Casey, I never thought about carb cycling as being a means of selling something. Thanks for the insight. May or may not be a means of selling the carbs, but it might be a way of having a channel or a Facebook thing that gets attention. Because let's face it. I've been doing these videos for I don't know how long, honestly. 6 years? I don't recall. Probably the first video I made, I said exactly the same thing I said today. The message has not changed. So I'm not the biggest YouTube channel in the world, and that's fine. Talmud says, if he who saves one soul is said to have saved the world. I am not trying to save souls, but if I can help somebody who felt as crappy about themselves as I did feel better about themselves and be healthier, one person, I'm happy. So if you're going to either, try to get more and more and more subscribers, you have to keep kind of pushing the envelope. Same thing with cookbooks. If you have a keto cookbook, it's only, how to roast a chicken, how to grill a steak. But then if you want to sell more and different cookbooks, you have to, okay, well, let's do keto appetizers, keto desserts. Oh, dear. So you have to figure out why you're doing what you're doing. RB Dale, good morning, Casey. Are all three phases of keto protocol suitable for good health, not weight loss? In Ontario, Canada, hard to find a family doctor, let alone one knowledgeable and supportive of keto. Thank you. Now, I don't do the phases, so that's a whole other thing. Um, I said this last week. I'm not going to reintroduce any carbs beyond the occasional, broccoli or cauliflower, green beans that we occasionally have, because it wouldn't work for me. I'm an abstainer, not a moderator. So even with cauliflower, like mashed cauliflower, I have to be very careful because I really like it. So I can overeat it. Remember that non-starchy vegetables are limited to a cup a day before they're cooked. That's not much. So now, as far as this doctor thing goes, your doctor doesn't have to prove what you're doing. Why do they get a vote? Are they gonna Are they gonna pay for your insulin for you? They're gonna, are they gonna give you the injections? You can influence your doctor sometimes. Judy Tucker lost 150 pounds and her doctor wouldn't work with her anymore, and he's obese. Dr. Ungal, so I guess 60 is never going to feel like 30, right? Although I will say I feel better at my age than I did 25 years ago, without a doubt. Physically better, and certainly mentally. That's the sugar substitute that's in many gums. Yeah, so you just have to be careful of that because they can, just be careful. Heather Knowles, oh my God, I am so an abstainer, not a rather than a moderator. And Lisa R. Nichols writes, Casey, this is the first time I am catching you live. Hope you are well. I love your channel. I've lost 65 pounds on keto, 3 years keto, and forever. I'll never go back. Congratulations. And speaking of finding life, if you want to be notified when I'm making these videos or post any other videos, um, subscribe, hit the bell icon, the notification icon, and have your notification set to yes, I want to be notified from this channel. And you need to do that on your device as well. So on your phone or your tablet, allow notifications from YouTube. So thank you for asking that. And let's do a round of applause for Lisa. Remember, Girl Scouts, round of applause. Nini and Kay, good morning. Good morning back to you. Cassandra Bowl, xylitol in gum is very poison. Don't feed your dog gum then. Okay, I'm sorry to be harsh. Yikes. Don't feed your dog gum. I don't know why anyone would. And my dog wouldn't eat it. My dog has a pretty good diet, but he doesn't like eggs, which is weird. Judy Tucker, we just have to keep showing our doctors that keto works. This is exactly right. And the very first Durham support group meeting I attended, I didn't know Dr. Westman. I found out about the thing. It was only about an hour and a half from my house. So I went and I sat in the back of the room. And Dr. Westman at that meeting, somebody asked about, when is this going to be mainstream? Now, I'm talking about that was 9 years ago. He said, oh, this will be a grassroots effort. This will percolate up from patients to doctors. And he was right on that. Because Hannah writes, LOL, you got me. Toby Mech Ballerina. Good morning. I'm 29, started keto in 2020. My life has changed, mostly regarding energy and overall health, IBS, joint pain, low blood sugar crashing, poor sleep, acid reflux, etc. Keto is the way. And girl, can I tell you, brava. You're 29. You're not waiting until mid 40s to say, oh, I don't feel so good. I think I better do something. Not that it's ever too late, but good for you. Betty Lookable. I really miss the Durham support groups. Yeah, Dr. Westman and I are in conversation about that. Toby Mac Ballerina, my goal is to be a healthy old person. Mine too. So was my husband's. And I don't feel like I'm an old person yet. So on that note, thank you for showing that this is not just for old people, middle-aged people, postmenopausal people, not just for women, not just for men. Kids don't need pretzels or fruit roll-ups or Pop-Tarts. Children don't need that. Everyone can flourish with some healthy whole foods. Thanks a lot. Okay, I want to see this one though. Jay Kent, artist. I've lost 91 pounds on keto since 2017. Wow. That is amazing. Congratulations and thank you for sharing. Maybe I'll just do a live stream where it's just everyone sharing their success stories or their challenges. I've done one of those before. Thank you for this super chat. Oh my gosh. Lisa, thank you so much. Lisa writes, thanks, sweetie. I'm 56 years old and postmenopausal. I have plateaued for 1.5 years now. If you maybe you weigh what you should weigh, but if you feel like you have excess body weight to lose or inches to lose, you now know how much to eat to maintain your weight. Keep in mind, you can be in ketosis, strictly page 4, and you can actually gain weight. We don't count calories, but ultimately calories count. And as we get older, our fuel requirements go down. So don't be afraid to eat less. Your body will tell you if it's okay, now it's too little. I'm really hungry now. Eat if you're hungry. Don't eat if you're not hungry. All right, friends. Thank you so much. I will see you next time. Oh, Lisa writes, but I feel so good. I'm cool with it. I have cured a ton of medical issues. It's amazing. No more meds, none. Thanks to the channels like yours that help me keep me motivated. Blessings always. Thank you very much. Vaya con Dios, todos. I will see you next Saturday. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Bye, guys.